Ladies and gentlemen, it's 9 p.m. on a Tuesday night. In fact, it's February 15th, 2022, and this is Crime and Culture Live. What's going on? I am Tim here tonight with Lance. What's up, Lance?
It is a absolute delight to be here this evening. Are we on we streaming now? Are we good? We're out there on YouTube and Twitter.
Let's see. Let me do a little refreshing. I believe so. Yes, we are.
Okay.
We are live.
I think my memory here is just maxed out on my computer. I'm just getting the circular rainbow wheel that keeps going around whenever I go. So anywho, welcome everybody. It's so good to be here. I hope everyone's doing well. Tim, I hope you're doing well. And our wonderful, amazing guest, Catherine Jones. How are you this evening?
I am fantastic this evening. The kiddos went to sleep right on time, and you in the audience have my undivided attention, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
We love it. We love it.
Well, that is great to hear. Welcome to the Crime and Culture Show. We do an hour here on Tuesday nights, and tonight we've got an incredible guest, Catherine Jones from the Campaign for the Fair Sentencing of Youth. Welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, as you said, Tim, I'm Catherine Jones. I am the co-director of Outreach and Leadership Partnership Development at the Campaign for the Fair Sentencing of Youth. And I am also one of America's formerly incarcerated youth. At the age of 13, I received the unfortunate distinction of being the youngest female to be sentenced to prison in 1999 for homicide. I was sentenced to 18 years, and I came home when I was 30 years old to this foreign smartphone-driven world that I didn't know anything about. And here I am 6.5 years later, finally starting to figure it out. And because of my experience growing up in an adult system as a child, I am passionate about the work that I do to help others like me as they reenter society, but more importantly, to work on our policy and advocacy to work to ban the practice of extreme sentences for children. We are the only country that does it. So it's a lifelong passion, it's my purpose, and it's my way of living a life of redemption.
I want to first welcome everyone who's joined over here on YouTube. We have Shannon, we have Pyrational, we have Chase. They are all chatting right now. Aaron just popped in, and they're all here to hear you, Catherine. And for those who have watched our weekly or bi-weekly live shows, they know that we try to keep it a little bit lighter. They know that we joke around and we talk about crime and we talk about culture, but we keep it all respectful, of course. And that leads me into my point about you and where you're at in your life. And we first met when you did the live show in Worcester, and I was just blown away by how, like, you're smiling right now. Like, we're keeping it light. How do you maintain that attitude, that positive energy? It's like, it's a perfect compliment to what we're trying to do right now. Like, just, you're where you came from and where you're at now. Like, what's the arc of emotion there?
Oh, I'm free, Lance, after living for almost 17 years in this little 9x12 cell. There is nothing that I can go through out here that is worse than what I went through in there. And so the fact that not only am I free, but with that freedom, being able to fight for the freedom of those that I left behind, that keeps me happy. I'm living out my teenage years and my 20 years and my 30s, and I'm doing it unapologetically. And I am living vicariously through my kids. I go trick-or-treating because I missed out on so much of that. I will go to a prom even if I have to wait for my son to get to high school. But, it's a joy. Living life free is a joy. It's one that I think a lot of people take for granted unless you've lost that. And so going out and putting my feet in the grass and, letting the wind in my hair and going out to see the stars at night, all of that stuff is a blessing. And I try to keep myself in that mindset that even the small things like answering the phone is something to be grateful for. So, and I'm happy. And a 4 and 5 year old definitely help. They are hilarious.
That's awesome. I have so many things to ask you just based on that one statement that you made. But first of all, how are your kids?
They are amazing. My son had his first karate class today and he was so stoked and he had so much fun. And it was just a joy just watching him. Just it's like he got confident and grown up in like an hour session at martial arts. And my daughter is just a little mini me, curls and all. And attitude, opinionated, gonna be quite an advocate when she gets older. So yeah, they're doing amazing and having the childhood that I never had.
Well, that sounds amazing. And nothing to sort of teach you about yourself like your own kids. That's what I've found. It's a pretty strange experience, but also very fun and rewarding.
Really.
Can you tell us what you do for the campaign for the fair sentencing of youth?
Wow, a lot. um, uh, One of the big things is things like this, where there's public speaking opportunities to educate the public on the realities of juvenile incarceration. Um, I work directly to lead our Incarcerated Children Advocacy Network. That is what it's called I Can, but it's made up solely of people like me who were sentenced to extreme sentences as children. And because of the work that we've done to get laws changed in the states to reverse these sentencing guidelines, we have over 800 people home now, and there's 800 people that are being reintroduced to a foreign society, a society that we've learned isn't very forgiving, because even after serving time, you're still a convicted felon, and helping them navigate housing and employment and getting them connected with resources. And that's probably my favorite part of the job. And also working closely with corporate partners to talk about those policies for fair chance hiring and how they treat people that have felony convictions, and bringing them proximate to people like me. Because when people think homicide or violent crime and then they look at me, they're like, hold on, that doesn't match up. That's not, but the truth is we're people, and and no matter how big of a mistake or how much harm was caused, as a child, we have the ability to change. And so who you see now isn't who I was at 13. And I think anybody listening can say that. If you're over 30 and you say, are you the same person you were when you were 13, 14, 15? The answer would be a resounding no.
I'm 100% the same person. I'm actually less mature than I was when I was 13 and 14.
Well, Lance, did you have blue hair when you were 13 or 14?
I didn't. This is a new one for me.
That's maturity there.
Yeah. If anything says maturity, it's dyeing your hair blue in your mid 40s.
For the record, I love it though. It looks great. It's
thank you.
Electric Crawlspace blue.
Crawlspace blue.
It's beautiful, truly.
Yep.
You should patent it.
Oh yeah, I think we did register a trademark for Crawlspace blue. It's almost as rare as Red Lake red
That's right.
From the Dutch era. Okay, let's see. I want to get into some stuff, but it's really important to me to know what your walk-in/walk-out music would be entering a stage or entering this show, because I typically like to play a song, and I kind of spaced out with this one. I couldn't find the right song. So if you could just let me know what your walk-out music would be, I can maybe prep that for the end of the show.
Girl on Fire.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I should have known that. Yeah. All right. Girl on Fire. There we go.
Did I use that in Massachusetts?
I think you did.
Oh, yeah. No, I used Rise Up.
Rise Up, right.
Andrea Day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll get Girl on Fire queued up for you. Okay, one thing you said earlier is that you you're working on helping out the ones that you left behind when you were no longer incarcerated. Can you talk about that? How you developed relationships when you're inside?
Absolutely, especially coming in as young as I did, 13 years old. The older women put me up under their wing. I've learned that that's probably the biggest difference between the males and the females. The women have more like a pack or like maternal like nature. And so they basically raised me. And, I remember I have some stories that are probably just a little bit too much for, my two male co-hosts, but they helped me navigate female things that I went through that I didn't know about. And I remember them doing my eyebrows for the first time or teaching me how to walk like a girl. They were like, you walk like a tomboy, and they helped me twist. And so they were named like my grandma or mom or godmom or aunt. And so they raised me and they became family. And most of these people were lifers that had dates that said 99/99/999. And even in that state where they were, it seemed like it was hopeless, they still found love and nurturing for me. And I remember like my 16th birthday party, they were so resourceful and created this elaborate like celebration for me, and my 18th birthday and my 21st birthday. And so I knew that I could never forget them because they were in fact my family for most of my life, all of my teenage, my 20s. And so I do a lot of work with, I do work specifically with the women in the ICANN network, but I also do a lot of work here in my home state, partnering with Change Comes Now to help women make sure they have feminine hygiene products, or to advocate for them when they call and say, hey, they just fed us peanut butter and one slice of bread for lunch because COVID has us with a shortage, and helping the organizations that are getting much needed supplies into the prison to get the funds donated. And so I told them I never forget them, and I won't. And I don't think I'll stop fighting until they come home, because they deserve to eat, because who you see now is because of many of those women that are still in there. They helped me stay sane while I was in there. They reminded me that family was important, that relationships were important. And really, after being out here with all these crazy people, I started to feel like some of those people in there had a lot more sense than these people. They didn't have all the cars and the makeup and the filters. Like, they were raw and they were real and they were genuine. And if I don't miss prison, but I miss the people that I met there. They were pretty amazing. They are amazing.
Wow. Yeah. And I would imagine that you went in there at 13 and you mentioned there were other lifers around who were, do you think they looked at you and sort of like you helped give them meaning in some way, like some extra energy to carry on?
Absolutely, because a lot of them left children at home, or grandchildren or nieces that they didn't get. So I was like the surrogate. So they spoiled me rotten, and that, and it was that bond was created. And so, and I didn't mind at all. It was, I mean, there are women in their 60s and 70s inside the prisons. And so if being it was mutually beneficial, because now I have this matriarch figure in my life that's leading me and guiding me and giving me wisdom. And I'm the role of the granddaughter that they miss and they may never get to hold again.
That's pretty incredible information to like wrap your head around, because we don't see all of the things that cause you to have these filters that you talked about, and how these women are in an environment where they don't have, such access to everything all the time. And there's no time to, like, I guess, beat around the bush when you're having a conversation. There's no time to give false pretenses or try to, do like speak in metaphors or something. What was that like when you got out, when you experienced, because that was just 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like? And I know you made a joke saying that some people, when you some people outside of prison make less sense than the ones that are in prison, but that must have been quite a culture shock.
It was, and I can't think of any other way than like there's like a duplicity, like these superficial things that are made to seem so important, like on social media, when inside it was like character development. Like, you wanted to be a person that kept your word, you were trustworthy, you were honest, because those are the people that had status in prison. It wasn't the people that were cutthroat or, two-faced. That was a huge character development place, because there were no distractions. So the only thing I could do is work on myself And when I came out, it was like I felt like I was in like this foreign alien world, that these things that really are meaningless are so important, when all you wanted inside was your family. You want to hold them close. You wish you could talk to them, and then you get out here, and even now I've been home. It'll be 7 years August 1st, and so quickly sometimes it's like I forgot what that was like, because I'll be like, oh my gosh, they're calling me again, and I have to say, hold on, girl, you wanted that phone to ring for 17 years. You couldn't hear a phone ring for 7. You got to remember where you came from. It's that easy to get sucked into this like vortex of like superficiality and super busyness, and you need so much to be happy, when all of my belongings fit in this little like 2x2 locker, and I was content with that in there. And then get out here, and it was like, I want the iPad and the Apple Watch and the new, yeah. And so yeah, it's a huge culture shock, and one that I'm trying to still find a balance for.
Incredible. And so you mentioned 800 people that was that the number that you used, that you has worked with, and then there's 800 more. Is that sort of loose numbers, or is that pretty close to?
Well, yeah, we have 800 plus that have been released because of policy changes and the bills that have passed, and there are still thousands more
Thousands, okay.
that are still there, because I believe we're over the halfway mark with the states that have banned juvenile life without parole, but we still have a lot of work left to do. The First Step Implementation Act would be amazing to get passed if it gets passed on a federal level, that it's unconstitutional to give children life in prison. And so that's another big one that we advocate for, and hope to see it go through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Is this, oh, sorry. Oh, you good?
Yep.
Okay. Is this because of like, oh my God, I know this word. It's so hard for me to say this word. I'm going to do my best. You mentioned the women who are serving life sentences, and you want to try to help them to get out. Why are they in there in the first place serving a life sentence? Is it because here comes the word that I can never pronounce, recidivism? Did I do it? Okay. That word trips me up all the time. Are there numbers proving that they will reoffend or something? Like,
actually the exact opposite, because most people that have received life sentences typically have a homicide or a violent charge. And contrary to popular belief, that is the demographic that has the least or the smallest recidivism rate, like under 1%. Out of the 800 plus that have come home, that went to prison as children and came home as adults, less than 1% has reoffended, and none of them for a violent crime. Typically, violation of probation because of the ridiculous restrictions they put on you after you've already served decades in prison. But and that's the true statistics. The media and everyone else like to hype it up, like, oh my gosh, if you let them out, there's going to be like this wave of violence. When that's true, that's just false. It's a false narrative that is being used to fuel, the rhetoric that's going around right now.
Interesting. And do you have a relationship with all of the people who have left all those 800? Did you work directly with them all?
No, well, we work directly with those that have become a part of the ICANN network. There are some that aren't part of our network per se, but are connected to us through various other organizations or projects that they're doing. We have 190 of 800 that are now officially ICANN members, and but all of them are ICANN members in a sense, because being home, not reoffending, and succeeding in your reentry. And by success, I don't mean having a 6-figure career, or success is that you come home and you didn't go back, that you're committed to walking this out day by day to prove that we deserve to be here. All of them do that. And so all of them are ICANN members in a sense.
Interesting. Wow. So yeah, I mean, that's just a lot goes into that, huh? So you mentioned you work with housing and I guess reacclimating. Like, what can you take us through a little bit of the challenges?
Um, so the one thing that we have developed is the heart to heart group with our female identified ICANN members. And so the biggest source of support we give is a sense of community. And because I remember like coming home and feeling like nobody understood me. Like here I am, 30 years old, never drove a car, never used a smartphone, didn't know what Google was. And a lot of ways felt like I was at a disadvantage. And then I'm trying to step into a family that I was disappeared from for almost 2 decades. And so now I'm in a house with a bunch of strangers who don't know me. And then I was invited to my first convening and I became an ICANN member. And now I'm in a room full of people just like me that I seen being that were successful, that were advocating, that had purpose. And it was life-changing for me because I'm not alone anymore. And giving people that is like the key to helping them successfully transition is to say, hey, we're here. We understand. We've been there. We've gotten through it. And if you need me, you can call me. Me and my fellow co-director of outreach and a few more people on our team, we take calls all day, every day from people that are going through various stages of reentry. We help them through that. If it's health insurance or they're having an employment, we connect them with resources we know in their area. We have just developed a Hire ICANN project that profiles ICANN members in their resumes and their skill sets so that companies can go on that site and hire ICANN members directly from the site. And we're still innovating and we're still developing different ways to help people transition, and it's exciting.
Yeah, really exciting. We have a question from Ginger, who's in the chat. She was wondering if you were sent from the juvenile system to the adult system, and if so, how long?
I was sentenced as an adult, and when you get charged as an adult, they typically don't put you in a juvenile facility. Because I was the youngest and they did not know what to do with me. There was a 15-month period where I was sent to a level 10 program, a level 8 and a level 10. By the time I was 15, I was back in adult prison. So at 14, I went to adult prison. Before I was 16, I was back in adult prison. And they placed me in solitary confinement until they could figure out what to do with me, which of course is cruel and unusual in and of itself. Because I feel like if you have the mechanisms to charge me as an adult, you should have known how to house me. And I really think when people vote for laws and bills for people to be treated as adults as children, they don't realize what the reality is when children get sent to adult prison. Because think about it, Lance, if you were a 13, if your 13-year-old daughter and there was a sex offender living next door and he came and knocked on the door and gave her a hug, it would be against the law. But when you're 13 or 14 and you're charged as an adult and they can place you somewhere with other pedophiles, you cease to be a child then because you committed a crime. And so it's horrendous. And we're supposed to be keeping it light. So sorry, it got a little heavy, but you get me on my soapbox.
No, by all means. I just want to emphasize that even though you started your story, and you've always started your story every time I've heard with saying that you were tried as an adult and you were put into adult prison when you were 13. I don't think that really sinks in until you drive it home, until you say, like Ginger asked. I think people just immediately go to like, oh, if she was 13, she probably went into a juvenile system, even though you just said it was an adult system, because it's so hard to believe that they would do that. It's so impossible for people to wrap their heads around that when it's the reality. And then they didn't get, great point, right? Like if you're going to get charged, know how to do it. They put you in solitary just to figure it out. Like that's insane. But yes, you can have a soapbox anytime you want.
Yeah. Shannon here asks, are people helped with developing skill sets while they're incarcerated so they can find jobs when they're released?
I had to laugh. They would like you to believe that, yes. They make billions of dollars from privatizing prisons, but they do not place it in the education system. The unique challenge faced by women specifically is that many of the and there's not many, there's a few select trainings they have, whether it's like secretary skills, commercial cleaning, and the jobs that they give you the training for are the jobs that typically are external facing, which require stricter background checks. So instead of more hands-on, the type of things that you could become an entrepreneur with if you had a skill set, and that they typically do in the male prisons. So and there's only 2 or 3 classes, and each holds maybe 20 people. And so if you only have 40 spots, and I was at Lowell Correctional Institution, the largest women's prison in the world, there's 40 spots and there's 3,000 inmates. The chances if you get into a program, unless you know somebody that knows somebody, is very slim. So there's definitely not enough. And even more than education opportunities, mental health is like non-existent. There's like 2 counselors for 3,000 women. So those are the first 2 things that get cut when they have a budget cut for the state.
Where does the money go then?
It's not to the inmates. I mean, I was in there. I mean, every year, by the time I left, we used to get at least real chicken once a month. By the time I left, we were getting what was called TVP, texture vegetable, and it came in like these pellets, and you drop it in water and it blew up. We called it blow up meat. All of us that were locked up called it blow up meat. And they would put a different sauce on it and call it something different. They would put like a sweet sauce on it, and now it's like barbecue. They would put a different sauce on it, add a little garlic pepper, and now it's sloppy Joe. But it was the same inedible meat, and it was always due to budget cuts. We went to getting no fresh fruit while we were in there, no fresh vegetables while we were in there. So yeah, it's definitely not going to the care of the inmates.
Wow. Well, in the spirit of keeping it light, how can you watch prison movies? Are they terrible? Do you like them?
I hate them. You know which one that I seen that was absolutely ridiculous to me was Orange is the New Black. I was like, what kind of crap
Come on.
is this? Like, is this even real? Like, there wasn't even, I couldn't even see like a hint of truth in that. It was not like the reality at all. I haven't, there's 2, and I can't remember the name of them, so I hate to even say it, but there's 2 that I've seen that I was like, now that looks like the real deal. And they're both on Netflix, but most of them aren't. And strangely, it's funny you say that, because Law and Order SVU is like my favorite show. And I watch Dateline, I watch 2020, I watch all of these, and I am and so Lance, you know, you're right up my true crime alley. So I'm like, what? And everybody says, how can you do that after spending all this time in prison? But I don't know. It just something about Olivia Benson, man, always win and just does something for me. So, but yeah, I hate them. Especially the female ones. Even the one with juveniles with life, I was like, yeah.
Well, you've gotten the chat room all worked up. They're all fired up. So I figure we might as well keep going with that and get them even more riled up. Can you tell us the story of Nancy Grace?
Wow. Court TV live, 1999.
Get ready, everybody.
Wasn't seasoned at all. Was said my attorneys had gotten like 5 questions that were approved for me to answer. They had gone over them with me. Got on live TV, like 3, 2, 1, lights in my face. And she gets up there, and all I hear is, what kind of monster at 13 years old could think about killing someone? And before I knew it, I was like, you don't know me. And I was defensive. And my dad had recorded it, and my attorneys, they recorded it, so they were able to look back and say, well, she attacked you. But we knew for every person that seen that didn't have recorded, that could look back, it was like a gut angry reaction, and it made me look aggressive and violent. But she came for me. So I had a distrust of the media after that, because I trusted the process. I trusted my attorneys when they said these are the questions that I was not expecting anything out of left field. And it was a reality check for how media can spin things for the sake of ratings or for the sake of shock value without really caring about the issue. That was just another example of them not asking the most important question in my situation was why? How did this 13-year-old girl get to the point where she felt like this was her only option? And instead, the narrative that I was some remorseless, cold-hearted child killer. And that's how you see it in the media. No one ever called me by name. Nobody ever said child with nothing else behind it, or, young adult or preteen. It was horrendous. And she is still not one of my favorite people. I think I'd be up for one with her now, though. A little bit more seasoned now.
Oh, that's like a dream. That would be a dream, like a crime con or something, get a live panel with you and Nancy Grace. But mission accomplished there, firing up the chat room even more. So yeah, a lot of similar feelings about Miss Grace.
We affectionately. I was just going to say we affectionately call Lance Lancey Grace
from time to time.
Absolutely not. No comparison. We've had ramen together, or ramen, yes. However you want to say it. That Instagram thing, like that versus what pits like the two singers together. To like who's the best, like a versus battle. Yeah, we should do like a talk, like a conversation battle back and forth.
Oh, that's funny. That would be great. Would be great.
Maybe it'll reach your desk.
That'd be amazing. Tim brought up movies. I don't know if you're going to be watching the Academy Awards. Is it this Sunday?
I don't know. I don't know. I got to look it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, have you seen any of the nominations, any of the nominees?
I don't care. My life is too busy. I'm fighting for freedom.
All right.
I'll tell you the last time I even watched the news. What I do know is that if Journey Smollett is not on there somewhere, I'm going to be mad. Dude, does anybody know? Because she like rocked everything this year.
I'm not sure. What movie was she in?
Hold on. Am I doing the one with the TV shows, or is this the movies?
This is movies.
Okay, because I was thinking about Lovecraft Country.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes. Yeah, good stuff.
I haven't watched most of this stuff. So don't feel too bad.
Yeah, neither have I. I think I've watched one.
I got all the animated feature films down. I know them all.
Yes.
By heart.
Kid Life. Yes. I've seen, what's it, Encanto?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Encanto. That one's going to win, I think. Yep. That's my vote.
But what's that one about?
It's a musical. It's a Disney Pixar musical about a magical family. It's pretty good. I don't know. To be honest, I haven't watched it that closely yet to know the intricacies of the story, but the songs are catchy as hell.
Yeah, especially one, the super strong sister.
Yeah. I liked it.
See, I enjoy hearing. I don't have children, but I do enjoy hearing this. I like the fact that you can watch an animated movie as an adult when your kids are getting the kid jokes and the adults are getting the adult jokes. Does it have some of those like Easter eggs in there with some adult jokes?
Yeah,
most of them
almost.
do these days.
Yeah, these days they're really good. I feel like and I don't watch the superhero movies at all, really, but I know that a lot of them got really good reviews, and I feel like definitely the Disney Pixar movies, they all get incredible reviews. They're all just basically masterpieces. Takes them years to make them, so like they figure out any problems way before they get to the point where it's too late. So yeah, movies to the kids movies and superhero movies today, so good. I feel like, not that I watch the superhero ones.
Yeah, I do. I have a 5-year-old son that thinks he's Spider-Man. And so the Into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales, like the first Black Spider-Man, my son is like in love with, and he runs around in his costume all the time. But I think Marvel has like taken it to a totally different level. Like Venom was amazing. I mean, but it reminds me of like Deadpool. Like Deadpool is not really for kids. That's not a superhero movie for kids.
Yeah, I like how you know what, I kind of like how they keep rebooting things every few years. I don't really have a problem. I kind of think it's cool. Just keep going. New reimaginings. I think it's interesting take on the same similar stories, characters.
Well, they better not do Halloween again, because that last one, and I am the Michael Myers like junkie, and I was so disappointed.
It's garbage, right?
Yeah, that was it was so predictable. Like I knew everything that was going to happen, and I was like, they made me curse. I cannot believe you let them wrap you up into that foolishness of a remake. That was horrible.
Yeah, the first one that came out was a good movie. I have a theory about the sequel, the remake of sequel. I think COVID hit, and I think Jamie Lee Curtis was like, "Yeah, put me in the hospital the entire movie. I'm not gonna be around anybody. I'll do the scenes from the hospital, sure." And then they're like, "Okay, let's get I don't know. Oh yeah, old Tommy Doyle," and then they just like forced that plot around with Anthony Michael Hall, and he just wasn't as captivating. Like that whole thing just wasn't as captivating. But the premise, like, what a swing and a miss! Like that premise to bring all of them back. It's just like, I don't even remember the end of it. I don't even think I like paid much attention towards the end. So disappointing. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe something wrong with it. He was like too invincible in that one, I feel like.
But they like, is this like a spoiler alert? Because that ending, that was such a joke. I was like, get out of here. So the next one will come out, and I was just like, I don't even know if I would run to the theater opening weekend like I do for every Halloween.
But you will. I bet you will.
Probably.
I'm an addict.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, I do too. I love them too, and I'll complain and talk about them, rate them, but yeah, they're still fun to watch. I hope this third one, the Halloween Ends, I think it's called. I hope that one really lives up to what they set out with the vision in that first one.
Guys, I have information from an inside source what that plot is and how it's going to end, and it is infuriating. I can't give any spoilers on the live broadcast. Maybe off air I can do it.
Don't spoil it for me. I want to have hope. Give me hope.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. When are you writing a book, by the way?
Okay. So I have journals from when I was incarcerated, and I've like added stuff to it. But one day I'm going to be able to slow down enough to actually flesh it out, because I received some very constructive criticism, because you can tell when I write, because that was my form of therapy. And I stopped writing for a long time because they took my journal as evidence when I was sentenced. And so I didn't really write anymore. And then as I began to mature and heal, I found my love of writing again. And that was how I got through the last 5 years of my incarceration. So I've started writing, but I noticed that I stop when it hurts too much, or when I don't want to dig that deep. And so after receiving that constructive criticism, I said, one day I'm going to be able to take 2-3 weeks to myself without having to balance being a mommy and working and really dig deep and let myself go there. And when that happens, when I can get something authentically me and all of me, the good, the bad, and the ugly, that's when I'll get it done. I could just get all my journals from when I was incarcerated and probably publish that and probably make a pretty decent book. But I do want it to be more than that, because I don't want it to end. And I never want my story to be about woe is me and what I went through. I want to be able to control my narrative and come from a place of empowerment and say, yeah, I went through that, but look who I became. And I'm still writing that. I'm still writing that as I live my life every day. And so my dream would have that all in completion. So I'm hoping to be done by the end of the year.
Wow. Wait a second. So you said you're hoping to get 2-3 weeks a year. Is that what you're planning? Is that what you need to finish the first draft, or is that what you're hoping to set aside to start working on?
That's what I need to finish.
Oh, okay. Wow. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats. Well, that's a great step. Yeah, that's amazing.
I want to do like a writer's workshop where like literally, because of my best writing happens like when I'm asleep and I think of something and I wake up and I have to get it out. And just to do that like nonstop without having to stop and cook dinner and all that stuff. I'd like to have like a 3-week therapy session.
Fascinating. You should contact the people at Masterclass and do a masterclass on your experience and like your life applications, because so much can be learned from that. Even like the writing angle, just like your process doing that is just fascinating. I feel like a lot of people who will hear that will, I guess, maybe if you're out there and you're like, wow, I should write a book. If you have a fascinating story, and you want to write a book and you just keep putting it off, hearing words like that is motivational.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes when we write from a lens of what we think people want to hear. And once that barrier's gone and you say, I need to write what I feel, and I don't care how it's interpreted. And that's kind of the place where I'm at in my life right now. Like, I don't care what anybody thinks about my insecurities or my fears or, my shortcomings. And I think that's when you get to that place, you're ready. You're ready to put it on paper.
So will you get some of those diaries for the book?
Yes, because I do have some reflections that I read now that I would like I wrote this one about wanting to be in the dark so bad. Like I was like, it's 2:00 in the morning. Like there was so much noise. Everybody's up and they're going crazy and the fluorescent lights on. And I was like, God, I just want to be in darkness. I want to be in darkness. I want no light. I miss it. Because for 16 years and 8 months, I was never in the complete and utter dark. I missed it. Well, I came home and my journal entry was different because I had created a fear of the dark. I had developed a fear of the dark because I wasn't allowed in the dark. So when the dark came that I prayed for while I was in there, I was petrified of it. And so even now, it's crazy. Like even sometimes if I'm going downstairs to do my laundry, I'll call my brother on the phone so I can go downstairs and get my laundry done. I don't like being in the dark. I'm terrified of it. So to look at what it was like in there and my thought process in there compared to what it is now, I thought was like an amazing contrast.
For sure. And who said it here? Shannon said you should do a TED Talk. Have you considered figuring out how you can do a TED Talk?
I don't know the process, but I would be willing.
Yeah, you'd be phenomenal at a TED Talk.
Do you know anyone named Ted?
No, okay. I do know that my executive director, Jody Cantlevy, did an amazing one, and Xavier is getting ready to do one too.
Oh, well, she's
there you go.
My joke.
I was like, listen, I probably wouldn't want to do it if I did it before they did one. How do I do one after them? They're like the greats.
Oh, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
You'd be great.
Oh, I think you'd be really great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say try to email any TED but those connections you have might be better than that.
At Ted Lasso?
Maybe I don't know.
That would probably be. That's a good
That's
connection.
the only Ted the name that I know. And well, I'm not even gonna say the other one. Like
We don't talk about Ted Bundy on this show.
Oh, God. Let's see. Do we know a Ted? Oh, we know Ted. I know one Ted.
We met a Ted at CrimeCon a few years ago. Is that the Ted you're talking about?
No. Pan Man Ted.
Ted Chalmers. Yes, Ted Chalmers. That's right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good Ted.
Yeah,
there's good Ted and there's bad Teds. I don't think there's an in-between Ted.
It's true.
All right. Let's see. I brought these peppers up to show you. Oh damn. Can't.
damn virtual background, Lance.
I know. I brought these up. You ever had those?
No, I have seen them.
Oh, you got to give them a shot.
I love hot.
What did they do?
These I didn't expect them to be so hot. I actually almost gasped myself out of the house here when I was searing them a few months ago. It was really nasty. I should have been wearing like a gas mask, but they're super hot. If you can find a sauce with these in there, highly recommend. I don't know if people are aware of your tolerance level to heat, if you want to fill people in on that. I find it to be a great anecdote.
Oh, you're talking about was that ghost pepper ramen? Is that what I had?
Yeah.
So I love spicy food. And I'm like, I'm from the South. And they were like, it's hot. And I was like, I do hot. Like I live for hot. And so I ate almost half of it, didn't I, Lance? And I was like, I couldn't feel my tongue. It was like numb. This is when we were in Massachusetts. And so after the live performance, I guess we could call it. But and so I remember wanting this dessert. What was the dessert, Lance? I can't. And I literally, when I bit into it, everybody else was like, it's so amazing. And I was like, I can't even taste it. I don't taste anything. And my taste buds were done. But and I think, Lance, you ate some.
Yeah.
You ate a few bites of it too. Yeah, it was doable. Yeah, Lance is a G.
It was good. It was good. But to be fair, I don't really think the portion size was so huge. So when you said that you ate about half of it, I don't really think it was because it was so hot. I feel like it was just like you'd had enough. Like you were powering through that. And I think I had just out of curiosity, 2 or 3 bites from it. I think my girlfriend did as well. And we were like, it's one of those heats where you're like, oh, that's not so bad. Holy shit. That's, it hits. It's like, oh, it's not too bad. Jesus. And it just lingers because the ramen it's got an oiliness to it. So it keeps that in your mouth. And then, you get the dessert and you're like, I don't taste this. I don't even know if I can smell anything right now.
Yeah. I was and then you had to have a tissue because your eyes are running, your nose is running. And the really cool thing about it is that I was just telling my friend today, I was like, let's go find a good ramen bowl. And I was like, I had this ghost pepper one in Massachusetts. And obviously I forgot how toxic it was for my taste buds because I was like, I'm going to do it again.
It's perfect. Well, it fires up something in you. It fires your endorphins. It's like an adrenaline rush when you have it.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Does it strip some of your taste buds away?
I think COVID did it worse.
Yeah.
I still can't smell all the way. And that
really?
was 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay,
That's
so
bad,
you were talking before we started that you were going to get a new microphone. Is this was that are we doing a big market tease that you'll have your own podcast soon and it'll be you reading from your journals?
Oh my goodness, that's a great idea. That is a good idea. Actually, I've been speaking with Kevin McCracken and Luis Suave Gonzalez about actually interviewing the women for their series on the women, the experience of women incarcerated. So a particular season dedicated just to that. And so super excited about that collaboration. They're 2 of my favorite people as well. So Nothing's completely solid yet, but definitely some talks in the works. Always love uplifting the women in incarceration, because oftentimes I think it gets overlooked.
100%, yeah, gets overlooked. They're doing some great work with their recent episodes. One dropped today. Dr. Jill McCorkle was a fantastic guest, but you're great when you're on their show as well. The whole women in prison, the women incarcerated, wasn't their intent to do for like a season 2. They weren't even sure if they were going to do like seasons or just keep going with episodes. But it was shocking to see how much information kept coming at them when they were researching the subjects for the new material. And it was like just woman after woman after woman after woman, and then a guy. And then, the real problem that no one talks about is how many women are incarcerated. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to say about that other than that. I can't really speak any more about that. It's just super tragic.
Absolutely. And that shows just like the culture changed where, kids didn't go to prison, and then now kids are in prison and in mass. It was appalling to think that a 12 or 13, and then it became acceptable, and the age just kept getting lower and lower. The same thing with women. I remember going to prison in 1999. It was rare to see a pregnant woman. Now they have whole dorms dedicated to them. Like, there's nothing sacred anymore. Motherhood isn't sacred anymore. It's these systems designed to break up these homes and these households and continue to the cycle of poverty and incarceration in these families, these generational issues is astounding. And I will spend my life shouting from the rooftops about the realities of, incarceration in America, and it's sickening. I think we when it comes to our criminal justice system, and I hate to even call it that, we're like a third world country compared to the rest of the world. Like, we're so far behind.
Well, as we wrap up the hour, which flew by, all great stuff. What is something that's on your, whether you have a physical list or a metaphorical list, what's something when you're not fighting for freedom that you want to check off that list?
Jumping out of an airplane, Lance.
What?
I want to jump out of an airplane.
With a parachute,
nice.
I hope.
Yes. Attached to somebody else that can just jump off without I don't have to make the decision, just throw me off. But yeah, that's my, with the, what's the little camera that goes on your head, that the GoPro thing?
Yeah, GoPro. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that when I land, I can watch it over and over and relive it. Yeah. That's at the top of my bucket list, Lance.
Nice. Tim's done that.
I did, yeah, when I was like 18, yeah.
You're saying I'm too old for it now, huh?
No, you're never too old. No, I have a friend in his 60s. He's jumped over 200 times. That's wild to me. But no, I was one was good enough for me. But no, I think it's definitely a good experience, I think. Yeah. What can we do to help you in your mission? What can we, as the host of the show and as our listeners, what can we do to help your mission?
Well, mainly, Lance and Tim, what you're doing right now is bringing people like me that have had this lived experience so that people can see us and that we're humanized. We're having conversations. They're learning the truth about the issues. Another thing the listeners can do is go to www.cfsy.org, learn about the mission, the facts. We have some great resources, great tools, and join it. Join the movement to ban juvenile life without parole. Get in contact with your legislators, your senators, get the First Step Implementation Act passed, and partner with us. Partner, donate. Go on the website. There's a whole bunch of options for you guys to get involved with the movement. And so we got to make sure that we treat our kids as kids, respect them as children, love and nurture them as children, and end this vicious cycle of the juvenile incarceration.
Awesome. And I think we can get a question out of the way real quick. Ralph asked, does she think the Menendez brothers case should be looked at again since their abuse from their parents might be true?
I think the truth or false of their story is irrelevant. They were children. And so no matter how high profile the case is, a child should never be thrown away and be sent to die in prison. So whatever the trauma was, and I will never say that it's not, I think the fact is that they were both kids and they deserve the opportunity. Brain science says they have the ability to rehabilitate, and they should have the opportunity to come home, at least have a hearing to prove that they're not who they were before.
Getting a lot of amens in the chat there. Julie says you're amazing. Yeah, great stuff. And the DB Cooper came up in the chat, and I can't let this go. Tim has a great dog joke about DB Cooper. Just
It's not even a dog joke.
I almost drove off the road when I read that.
Oh my God. I think I just said something like some very random text. A good name for a dog would be DB Pooper. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. We're 13. We are not mature here.
That's a peek behind the curtain over here, Catherine.
Yeah.
Tuesday night.
It's a good Tuesday.
Would be a good name for a dog, though.
It would be a great name for a dog. Imagine that. Like, what's your dog's name? Oh, this is DB Pooper. I love it.
Lance and Tim, if you guys are ever lking for a co-host, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh,
Sounds
awesome.
good.
I can
Awesome.
do this. This is better than going out.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yes.
Yes, the walkout music.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here tonight, Catherine Jones of the Campaign for the Fair Sentencing of Youth. Make sure to check out all that they're doing over there at cfsy.org. And thank you, everyone in the chat room and everyone watching at home tonight or on replay. We really appreciate it. We are going to be back in 2 weeks from tonight. And we'll do this all over again. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. I'm Tim. For Lance and Catherine.
Thank you for that wonderful exit announcement. I don't know what that was great. Very professional.
Yeah, I don't know. Just trying
That
stuff.
voice, Tim. That voice, that's a talk show host voice right there.
All
right.
Thank you, everybody.
Good stuff.